So I'm here because my purpose is not done. I want to pray with you. Don't miss this service. In the name of Jesus.
This is KLAS FM, the station.
Welcome to the multi-award winning Scoreboard. Get ready for top-class sports discussions.
Good evening, listeners. My name is Christopher Zidane Matthews. Welcome to the Scoreboard. We go up until 6 p.m. Should be having two football experts on the program this evening, Yashima Love and Bull. He wants to go by the name Bull to discuss football, and more football. Lots of football in the air. So we will be discussing some football today. So, the YouTube channel is there. So let me fix up my shirt, So we have who we have? One, Bull, Yashima. Bull is not answering the phone. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Yashima Love.
Afternoon, today. How are you?
Yeah, first of all, let me just tell the listeners that Ivory Coast, they will now meet Nigeria in the African Cup of Nations final. They beat Congo by a goal to nil earlier on today. Goal in the 65th minute from Hala. And remember, Nigeria, they won on penalties. So it was Nigeria versus Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, they got through to the round of 16 by the skin of their teeth. They came third in their group and it took goal difference to get them. Now they're all the way into the final. They fired their coach. It seemed to be the right decision in the end. And now they're in with a chance of lifting the trophy, a real chance. They're in the final that will take place over the weekend. And in Asia, seeing some surprise. Well, not surprise because the defending champions, they are in the final. So they have an opportunity to still defend their title. But we saw Jordan, I think they're making the finals for the first time in history, beating South Korea. And the Tottenham superstar was there. Couldn't do a lot to save his team. They got shocked. So those are the big finals for coming up over the weekend. So we're going to discuss every single thing in football, pretty much international. You're still trying to track down Bully, Asta. Keep trying. All right. Good afternoon, Yashima. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I haven't spoken to you in a while on this platform.
Yes, indeed. I want to go right over there in Germany, my boss, because I usually, last year they should have lost the league. Borussia Dortmund had an opportunity. We're talking about Bayern Munich, who have been winning in it. But I think Borussia Dortmund choked at the opportunity. It was destiny was in their own hands on the last day. It didn't happen. Now we see a different team, Bayer Leverkusen. They are the ones who are setting the standard in terms of team that could topple the Bayern Munich machine. And they are leading the league only by 2 points. But I'm looking at a record that in the last 30 games, all competitions, they have not lost a game. Yeah, what is happening over there in Leverkusen? Talk to us.
Well, it's not a shock. Let's not forget that when Xabi Alonso, who had no first-team experience, I think he was coaching in the Spanish youth setup, and he took over the job at the Bayer Arena. They were, I think, in 17th position. And you've seen just an upward trajectory. What he has done there really is instill confidence in a very young group. And then this season, in the summer, they would have added Granit Xhaka, who we know is a leader. He captains his national team. And even before he went to Arsenal, he was a captain for Borussia Mönchengladbach. So he's very familiar with German football. And of course, Xhaka is a top player. Maybe didn't see his best form at Arsenal or in the Premier League, but he's a top and experienced international footballer. And for this season, we saw Jonathan Tah stepping up, the young Ecuadorian defender, Piero Incapia, but it's in midfield, Zidane, where I think this season in the Bundesliga, they have the best midfield with Xhaka and the Argentinian midfielder, Ezequiel Palacios. They have just been out of class. And the speed at which they play and the discipline in the team You have the fullbacks bombing forward, particularly down the right hand side there, Jeremy, and Jeremy Frimpong, and every time he goes forward, Shaka is always coming across to sweep up any potential counterattack or Palacios. So it's just a seamless, disciplined role that the players have. And of course, we saw Victor Boniface before his injury. He was just banging in the goals. And the return from the long-term injury, he suffered a ACL injury. That's about Florian Wirtz.
Mm-hmm.
We know when he's on form and fully fit, he's one of the best playmakers in Germany and I dare say in Europe, because he just have the capacity, the innovation, and the technical qualities to pick passes, get past players with consummate ease. And so I think we're seeing where a lot of young players, they're confident and they're obviously listening to the instructions of Xabi Alonso.
Indeed. Bull, we understand that Bull has joined us now. Bull?
Yeah, man, I'm here. Good evening to Dan. Good evening, Ashim, and good evening to the listeners.
Yeah, man, wonderful. We were talking about the Leverkusen, who has been on a wonderful run. The last 30 games across all competitions, they have avoided defeat. I think winning 26 of them, actually. You think they can get the job done this season? Borussia Dortmund should have done it. They got very close and didn't get the job done on the last. They didn't win. You think Leverkusen will be the first team in many, many years to win the German league title?
It's going to be a very big task, considering that I think they dropped points over the weekend, and now the gap between them and Bayern is just 2 points. So when you take that into consideration, and also they're going to play Bayern in a few days. Possibly, I think the game is this weekend or next weekend. So that tells you that the game against Bayern is going to be a massive game, probably one of the biggest games in the Bundesliga since Jurgen Klopp and was able to, get a title from Bayern. Now, the Leverkusen team, they play wonderful football. It's nice on the eyes. It's good to see. But when the pressure hits these young players, you're wondering if they will fall or not. Personally, I don't see them doing it. I think Bayern have enough to get over them, and that game is this Saturday at 12 p.m. 12:30 p.m. So it will be a big game.
Who's the home team in that fixture?
Leverkusen.
Well, Yashima, what do you make of Xabi Alonso as a manager?
Well, it's too early to tell, but based on what we've heard from Sid Lowe in Spain, who would have seen him up close, and based on what I've seen from him, is that he seems to have picked up a lot from managers that he played under. So he had Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, and he also had Rafael Benitez. We're talking about 3 elite coaches here. And he seemed to have just picked up a bit from each of them and then coined his own style based on quick football, being very, very disciplined. But also the Spanish mix to it, where they just dominate possession and they can pass you to death. And of course, the discipline that they can have to just sit behind the ball and then press on a trigger and then counter. So I think as a manager, he has gotten everything right so far. But again, he's working with mostly young players. Maybe Shaka is perhaps the only established quote-unquote star. So when he goes in a different setting with, big egos and more star players to manage, I think we can get we should get a better understanding of how he is, not just tactically but also man managing. Because when you're working with younger players, they tend to respond better to you. But then when you're working with really big egos and big players, it can be more of a challenge. But certainly tactically, he has proven to be extremely good so far. But I want to see him at a bigger team, more bigger egos, and then see how well he does before I can give a definitive analysis of who he is as a complete manager, and not just his tactical acumen.
All right. You think they can hold on for the championship, or do you think Bayern?
Absolutely, because we are talking about Bayern Munich been very inconsistent for over a year. Yes, we know they're capable of going on different runs, but it's just very unsettling. There's a reason they were chasing Joe Palina from Fulham, because I don't think Thomas Tuchel trusts Kimmich 100%, and he certainly hasn't been playing up to his usual high standards. And so they were chasing someone who could really basically come in, provide competition, and possibly, take that position away. Also, defensively, not very disciplined, particularly in the fullback areas. Right fullback has been a problem for them, Zidane, ever since the retirement of Philip Lahm. They've tried Kimmich at right fullback. They've tried Benjamin Pavard. They've tried Bonassar, who got a long-term injury, and now they rotating basically. So there's no set person there. Left fullback, we know it's Alphonso Davies once he's healthy, once he's fit. But and in the heart of defense, it's not a settled partnership. We know when Kim Min-jae is fit, he will play. But you might see Upamecano this week. Next week, you see Matthijs de Ligt. He's also unsettled because he's not playing very often.
Yes.
And so it's not a settled team. And going forward, again, also, the only attacker who is guaranteed to start is Leroy Sané, because he has been in such good form under Tuchel. So it's not a settled team. They're not consistent. The performances have been questionable. And so now you have meetings constantly where people are saying, should we get a new manager, or is it that we need a different strategy in terms of developing players from the academy and also recruitment?
All right, hold your thoughts, gentlemen, hold the line as well. We'll take a break and we'll come back with more on the Scoreboard. More about Javier Alonso after this commercial break.
Slowing starting? Won't start? Visit Champion Battery Company Limited, specializing in automotive batteries, windshield repair, and headlamp polishing. Don't replace discolored head and tail light. Restore to factory-like condition with the Polyhog system. Glass technology, we save them. Everything priced to meet recession and your shrinking dollar. Champion Battery does it all. The battery of champions. Visit 59 Constant Spring Road, Kingston 10. Telephone 926-2646.
Give a little something. US $1 JD 150 every time you receive a remittance from Lasco Money Transfer to sponsor a social project selected by the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. Say, I want to donate $1 to the cashier. Donations accepted at these locations: 38.5 Red Hills Road, Kingston 10, 15 Chandos Place, Poppin Square, Kingston 10, and Shop 203 Bayway Shopping Center, 3 St. James Street, Montego Bay.
You're listening to The Scoreboard on Jamaica's #1 sports station.
All right, welcome back to The Scoreboard, and this evening we will be talking about football, and more football right up until 6 p.m. this evening, and we have Yashima Love and Bull online. So, Bull, Yashima made mention of the fact that he would love to see what he can do with more senior players with more eager to test his managerial skill overall. He thinks he has the tactics right now, but the egos is a part of it. Now, a lot of Liverpool fans, Jurgen Klopp has announced that he will not be at the club after this season. He will resign at the end of the season. A lot of Liverpool fan is eyeing Xabi Alonso. Do you think he could handle the pressure of coming to England and managing a club like Liverpool, who is now constantly competing for championships?
Well, he has been at Liverpool as a player, and he was loved there. So you will see that he has the background. He knows the facilities. He knows the history of Liverpool Football Club. On the other hand, when you look at the egos of players and all of those things, he was a big player himself. So most of these players would have been, like, for example, your Trent Alexander-Arnold, your Andrew Robertson, all of those players would have been, possibly growing up watching Xabi Alonso, possibly have high respect for him. So it's not a case where he's an unknown coach doing well with young players, and then he's thrust into the position of handling big players. So he would have had the respect of these players as a player himself, because they would have, a lot of them probably possibly grew up watching him. So he would have had that respect, and we all see that he's able to to manage that team tactically, and he has a lot of different style of play. So I think it might be a good fit, but I think right after Jurgen Klopp, it's going to be a very, very difficult task for him. And as a Manchester United fan, I would love to say I wish him all the best, but if he gets it, I actually don't wish him all the best.
Yes, it will be a big boost to Phil because Jurgen Klopp has done so very well.
What Jurgen Klopp has done with Liverpool, taking them from a team that was finishing outside of the top four consistently to bringing them to, Champions League finals, 90 points consistently. It's a big task to come and fill that kind of boost. It's not as big as what Moyes had faced when it comes to Manchester United, but it's still a big, massive task nonetheless. The Liverpool fans are, they're used to winning again. So it's going to be a big task for him. But if the players are still there, I think he will have a good run.
Mm-hmm. All right, gentlemen, let's move across now to Spain. Barcelona seem to be off the pace over there in La Liga, and you have to think that Real Madrid are major favourites now, even though Girona is doing pretty well to win the La Liga title. Barcelona, they are the defending champions. So we'll stay with you, Bull. What has gone so wrong for Xavi this season with this Barcelona team? They are the defending champions, and they've been struggling. They've been very inconsistent.
I mean, I think he has announced that he's leaving at the end of the season. So he's another coach that will be out of a job at the end of the season. And this season has been a rough one for him in terms of getting the fluidity in the team. A lot of players in that Barcelona squad not performing to the high level that they want them to. The defense was good last year, and now this year is kind of suspect. And Lewandowski is not scoring the amount of goals that he would want. Now you used to Lewandowski scoring, so they have issues all around the pitch. And all in all, they are the third best team in the league for a reason, because there's two teams in the competition that are just playing better than them, look better than them, and there's a better unit than them. So that is what they're facing now. They're just the third best team.
Well, yeah, hit the nail on the head there. They have conceded twice the amount of goal that the leaders Real Madrid have conceded. Yashima, what has been the main reason for that?
It's really a combination of things, but I think I'm gonna start with their financial situation, because of where they find themselves. They're not able to basically recruit the way they would like. So definitely they wouldn't be getting first choice players that Xavi would have wanted. Let's say you want a central defender like somebody in the mold of a Van Dijk, it's gonna cost you quite a bit. So if you're gonna do that, you have to be in good financial standing. So I think the recruitment there during the summer was not so good. And again, also I mentioned Bayern earlier. It's the same thing in terms of players not being able to stay fit at Barcelona, because I think Christensen was hurt for a little while. We know Balde is out for a long time. He is the first choice left back. And Jules Koundé and Araujo are switching from central defense right full back. So it's again defensively not settled. In central midfield, I think the only player who's playing anywhere close to their capacity or potential is Frankie de Jong. I know Gundogan is also consistently there, but we are not seeing the Gundogan from Manchester City.
Not at all.
And of course, going forward, Rafinha is not making an impact. The youngster on the right side, his name slips me now, but he's not being consistent either. And the chances for Lewandowski, they are not really coming. Lewandowski, at this stage of his career, he is heavily dependent on the service he gets. In this present moment, that's not happening, and that's where they're struggling. And I think defensively, though, because they can't keep up their position, there's a softness to Barcelona. And so teams are now not fearful of really, going at them. And I think that is hurting them. There have also been reports that there are players who would have met with Xavi who are not so happy with his methods in terms of training and certain decisions that he makes in games. So something might be there as well, but I know many things are stemming from just the poor financial state the club is in, which would have been coming from decisions made in the past. Mm-hmm. So they can only blame themselves. But again, I think they are underachieving with what they have. They certainly should be much closer to Real Madrid and Girona.
Yes. All right, so Girona, they're in second place, 2 points behind Real Madrid. All three teams that you mentioned have played 23 games. Atletico Madrid, let's make mention of them. They have been a very good team in Spain over the last decade or so. They are on 48 points, 2 points behind Real Madrid, Barcelona rather, and they have played 23 games as well. Do we see? I thought Atletico Madrid would have actually been doing better this season at this point in time. You think anybody has a run in them, or you think Real Madrid Bull will eventually just go on to win out and win the La Liga title?
I think the only team close to them that can take on Real Madrid is possibly Girona, because they're playing very well. They are playing nice football. They are playing as a good unit, and they're scoring goals, and they're keeping a fair amount of them out. So they are a very good unit. But you worry about for a team like that to challenge the great Real Madrid. You worry about when it comes to the back end of the season, do they have the guts to carry through? But when you look at the coach that Real Madrid has, the Ancelotti, a very good coach. He knows how to get the team striking at the right moment, and I think they won't give up this lead. If they were chasing a team, maybe, but the fact that they are leading now, I don't think anyone will catch them.
You don't think so? What about you, Yashima?
I agree with Bull. I think Real Madrid from here, if they lose it, I can't see it. But again, to want Girona to basically chase them, it's a big question mark. Atletico Madrid, I think Diego Simeone needs to make a decision. Do I want to give my team, the freedom to play in an attacking style, or are we just a team that works hard, make it difficult for their position, and just try to get something on the counter attack? I think the more and more I watch them, it's just I don't know who they are, because this week they're brilliant, they play extremely well, easy on the eyes, and then the following week against a team that that they can dominate, they play in another way. And I think that's the challenge there. When you have to be counting on Alvaro Morata to get your goals, I'm not sure you're in a position to really score a lot of them.
Yeah, good point.
Griezmann, we know he's a little bit older now, still a quality player, but because he doesn't really have the legs anymore, he doesn't really get into the penalty area as quickly as possible. Or quickly enough.
Yes.
And so I think that that hurts them, because Griezmann and Morata, they're the main goal scorers for them. I think in terms of their build-up play, in terms of how they handle the ball, they can do much better. When they are given the freedom and the likes of Paul and Koke, they get into the game, into the passing game. They look like an excellent team. But again, it comes down to when you create those chances, can you finish them? And so far, I think Morata has missed a lot. There's a young player called Rodrigo Riquelme as well. He looks good, but again, in the penalty area, they're not being clinical, and I think that has hurt them a little bit this season as well.
All right. I think Jude Bellingham has been the best player in La Liga this season. Yeah, Bull, we'll go to you first.
Yes, most definitely. He has been a top player for Real Madrid this season. So earlier in the season when they wanted a victory, he was always the one delivering the goal. And he's also working well with the midfielders and the forwards that are linking the play well, getting into the box, scoring important goals, scoring in El Clasico. All the big games, I think, so far he has scored in. And this weekend will be another big game, because the top two clash this weekend at the same time when the top two in Germany clashing. So it's going to be a good weekend for football. So I think he's going to show up in this game again. And of course, coming over from Dortmund, I think he has been possibly the signing of the year in football in the world.
Yeah. All right, we'll get into that later. But Yashima, are you surprised at how well and how quickly he has settled in Real Madrid? Because sometimes it can be difficult with the pressure of talking about the most successful European club team in history. Are you surprised that he settled this quickly?
I'm not surprising at how well he has settled. I think the most surprising aspect is the number of goals that he's getting.
Yes.
Because certainly playing for England and Borussia Dortmund, yes, he gets into the final third, but I haven't really seen him getting into the penalty area that often. So that's the surprising aspect of it. Look, we've seen him in the Champions League. We've seen him for England. We know he's a quality player. But again, going to Real Madrid, it's always difficult. We've seen, top quality world class players go to Real Madrid and struggle to settle in. So we have to give him a lot of credit. I know he went there a bit early. He had Spanish classes. He did so many things to try and get to understand the club, and I think the tour also helped. And to be performing at that level, at age 19, it's absolutely ridiculous. So him being the best player in La Liga, I'm not so sure, because I think the midfielder for Girona, I think Alish Garcia, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. He has been a revelation. I think Arsenal is currently looking at him, Bayern Munich also, and I think City, because of how well he's playing. If he continues his form, I don't think Girona will be able to hold on to him. He has been brilliant, maybe not getting the amount of goals, but his innovation, how he controls everything that Girona does well going forward, most things go through him. So I think he also deserves a mention. But I think Bellingham maybe, but I think that player in particular has been excellent.
All right, wonderful. All right, gentlemen, great analysis there. Don't move. We take another break on the scoreboard. We come back. We go to Italy, and then we save the best for last. The best league in the world currently is the English Premier League. We're coming back for more on the scoreboard.
Need to spruce up those clothes or take a break from the washing? Then visit New Look Dry Cleaners and Launderers at 120 Red Hills Road, Kingston 19, or Shop 23 Manor Park Plaza for speedy service and the very best prices. Everything will look like new. Be part of the thousands of satisfied customers. Call 925-9464 or 931-1305. Get the best look at New Look.
It's now time for Sports in a Minute, sponsored by D'Angel, Edgechem, Megamart, and Enibet. Brentford boss Thomas Frank says he expects striker Ivan Toney to leave the club in the summer. The 27-year-old will have 1 year left on his contract and at the end of the season, and has been linked with moves to Arsenal and Chelsea. Toney scored his return from action in January following an 8-month ban for breaching gambling regulations. Toney was suspended for 8 months from last May for breaking Football Association betting rules, including betting against his own team. And that's your Sports in a Minute. Sports in a Minute was sponsored by D'Angel Auto Spares and Accessories Limited at 20 Balmoral Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-929-9146 and in Maypen, Shop 10, 1A Chapelton Road. Call 986-7142. Edgechem, changing lives 1 gallon at a time. Megamart, best value by far. And Enibet, your best bet, reminds you to bet responsibly.
We may be all over the world, but we're still in this together. Feel, make it easy for you get your money. So if you have to get nothing from your brother or mommy, hey, it's a not instant, it's a MoneyGram. Zoom, check your phone, your money land. DMBS money transfer. CFA faster, easier. Sign up for DMBS direct to bank account transfer today. No matter step out, be time the line straight. Now your account money reach long time. DMBS money transfer.
My Mega Mart, best value by far.
With so much to do in one location, make Mega Mart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy, all in one amazing location. My Mega Mart, the best value by far.
My Mega Mart, best value by far.
Come catch the action at the National Stadium on Saturday, February 10 for the Camperdown Classic, the showcase of sprinters. Come out and support your favorite team or athlete. Adults, $1,000. Children with ID, $500. Come see the best boys and girls compete to make qualifying times for boys and girls champs. The meet will also feature senior athletes as they prepare for the Olympics. That's the Camperdown Classic, February 10, 2024. Be there.
You're listening to The Scoreboard on Jamaica's #1 sports station.
All right, welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to The Scoreboard. We're discussing football, and more football. Now we are going into Italy, and Inter Milan, they lead the top flight in that country, Italian Serie A. It's called. They are on 57 points, 4 ahead of Juventus. AC Milan, they are in third on 49 points, and Atalanta, they are in fourth on 39. So pretty much we know what the top 3 will be, it seems. And this is after 22 rounds of game for the top team, 23 for Juventus and Milan. That is very important. And Juventus lost to Inter Milan in a close affair last weekend. We'll start with you, Bully. I think that victory for Inter Milan now makes it very, very difficult for them to be caught by Juventus or AC Milan.
Yes, that victory opened up a gap first against Juventus, and they also have a game in hand. I think they have a game in hand against Juventus in terms of Juventus have played one game more than them. So
yes,
they were looking at that and saying if we could win the game that we have in hand, we have I think it's a 7-point gap over them now. But impressive, we talk about good defense. You talk about good defense in world football. You're talking about that Inter Milan defense in the league. I think they have conceded either 10 or 11 goals in those 22 games. So
yes,
it tells you that they conceded 1 goal every 2 games. So they always say a good defense is the bridge for success and a good title challenge. So they, for me, have this one in the bag, and they are scoring a lot of goals as well. So they are very good defensively, and they are scoring goals. I think they are the leading goal scorers, and they have the meanest defense in the league, and they have the most goals in the competition. So when you put those two together, you're basically calling the league is over.
Yeah. Yashima, I saw an article earlier on today that the writer is saying that it's going to take a miracle for Inter not to win the Serie A. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think based on what I've seen, I don't watch all Rona games, but I've seen enough of the top teams, Napoli, Inter, Juve, AC Milan. I think Inter certainly looks the best team. As Bull mentioned, how good they are defensively. It's very little away. But I really like the platform that they create in midfield. I think Barella, for me, has shown that he's the best midfielder in the Italian Serie A. Tireless, has such great composure, vision on the ball as well. But they have somebody who basically gives them an insurance in terms of getting goals, and that's Lautaro Martinez. He just banging in the goals. He's creating chances for his teammates as well. I actually thought them losing Lukaku would have been an issue, but it just seems as if he decided, okay, Lukaku is out, it's on me, and I'm gonna show the world that I'm one of the best strikers in the world. And so far, I think Inter, without doubt, is the best team in the Italian Serie A.
You're seeing Martinez moving to one of the more high-profile clubs in Europe. He's done pretty well in the Italian Serie A, and as I said, he's playing fantastic again this season. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I personally would have liked to see him move to a different league, maybe in England. But again, I doubt that's possible, given the fee that Inter will demand. And he also seems to be extremely settled in Milano as well. So I don't see him leaving. But again, to go to one of those bigger clubs, more pressure, and just to test yourself there, I would love to see it. But he has shown that he has everything. He has the size. He can hold the ball up, link up the play. He runs the channels, running behind, and he's a great finisher. So he has everything. It's just that wanting to see him move away from what seems to be a comfort zone for him, to test yourself in Spain, in England in particular, it would be good. But I think that in the right team, certainly if he goes to a Man City or a Liverpool, I think he could be very devastating. But I would really, really love to see him, particularly in England, because I think based on the way he plays, his body, I think he would be very, very good in the Premier League.
All right, your thoughts, Bull? Where would you want to see Lautaro Martinez play?
Well, I would love to see him in the Premiership. Because you think the Premiership is where you the real test is, for want of a better word, that's where the real test is. He's at a good age. I think he's about 26, 27. So if he moves, he's basically at the peak of his powers now.
Yes.
I think he has scored a lot of goals this year in terms of the calendar year. I think he has scored over 30 goals in the calendar year. But my word for me is that when the big games come up in terms of the big moments for him and Inter Milan, he talks about the Champions League and all of these things. He seems not to show up even for Argentina. When you come to the Premiership, every game is a big game. The pressure is on all the time. So I think that's one of the reasons why the big clubs are not moving for him. Because if you look at Manchester United, wanting a striker and was willing to pay 70 million for a forward from that only had 10 goals in the Italian league.
Yeah,
and not choosing to go for him.
That's an interesting point you're making here.
When you look at Liverpool going for Nunes instead of him. And he's always in the market. Him and Osimhen and all of them, when clubs are looking for a centre forward, his name is always being called. So there must be something that these scouts, the big scouts, the G scouts, all those persons are looking at him and not liking. And I think that is one of the things when the big moment comes. Because if you look at even the World Cup, he lost his spot to a teenager.
Yes.
So when you combine all those things, I think that being comfortable in Inter Milan, I think it's the best thing for him.
Who's that teenager that he lost his spot?
No, he's not teenager. Julian Alvarez.
Alvarez a teenager?
No, he's 20. I think he's 21 at the time.
Wow. I thought Alvarez
Julian
was
Alvarez. I think he was 21 at the time. I'm not sure. I think
Alvarez was 19 when he displaced him. So he lost his spot to a youngster, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he lost his spot to a youngster in the World Cup, and you wonder what that would have done to him mentally, but he has shown that he has overcome that and scored a lot of goals. I think he's in his comfort zone now, and I think that's where he'll be spending the next 3 years, and then he'll probably look for a next move in Italy.
All right, let me check. All right, let's move to now Jose Mourinho, who was fired by Roma this season.
Julian Alvarez is 24 years old. The World Cup was just 18 months ago.
Yes, I want to.
So Alvarez is 24.
Yes,
he's 24 years old.
What are you saying to me? I had no idea. Thanks for that.
I
thought he was a child.
All right, so Jose Mourinho was fired by Roma. Ex-former Roma player was hired to replace him. Is this
Daniel De Rossi?
Yeah, is this the end of the road for Jose Mourinho in terms of a high-profile job? We'll start with you, Yashima. You see, you're laughing there.
I really don't think so.
Who's going to hire Jose now?
Well, we are hearing rumors that he could come back to Chelsea. That's a viable option.
I don't think that's an option.
Listen, Mourinho's CV speaks for itself. And we know he's a top quality coach. And the Roma fans, by the way, are not in favor of him leaving. So it tells you that he's not necessarily leaving on a bad note as it relates to the fans. I think it's the board. And we know Jose Mourinho, he will upset people above him if he's not going to get what he wants. And quite clearly, there are a few transfer targets that he wanted and he never got. Because, of course, Roma doesn't really have the kind of resources that he would be accustomed to. So I know that's one thing. Also, there were some complaints. Well, I'm not sure complaint, but a little rumblings about his working relationship with persons above him. So we know Mourinho can rub people the wrong way. But Zidane, it's always a good sign when the fans are not in favor, because the fans sometimes are the first to say, I think this manager should go. When the fans are saying, he should stay, when he was actually leaving, they basically were, blocking him, his car, and he was crying, stuff like that. So it shows you that they saw progress was being made. He won them a title in Europe.
Yes.
They are in the top half of the table.
Yeah,
given the squad that they have, they certainly it's unlikely that they'll get in the top 4, but they were pushing there.
Well, they are 1 point outside of the top 4.
Top 4, right? So to sack him, I'm not sure that was a wise decision in that present moment. And bringing in a De Rossi, very inexperienced, not sure what's going to happen there. So I'm not sure he was sacked based on footballing reasons, so to speak.
Yes.
I think it goes a little deeper than that.
All right, Bull, your take. He heard you rumbling in the background while Yashima was talking there. What were you saying?
All right. When you a manager like Jose Mourinho constantly getting in fights with the persons that are above him. And that shows that if you fight with your boss, there's only going to be one outcome, and that's you losing your job. So he had issues with the Manchester United hierarchy. He's gone to Roma, he has issues with them. And it's a constant thing with Jose Mourinho. Now, of course, everyone knows Jose Mourinho is a winner. He wins trophy, but sometimes the way in which those trophies are won, when you're not winning games, when you play a style of football like Jose Mourinho play, you're not winning games, it looks awful and it can come off, and the perception is that this is negative football. The way big clubs want to run, they want to play a progressive style of football, on the front foot, pressing, counter-pressing. That's not Jose Mourinho's style. So the question that you asked before is that the end of the road for Jose Mourinho in terms of managing a big club? And I think that is it. I think that is indeed it. Majority of these big clubs, they're looking for front foot managers, and Jose Mourinho is not that. So I think maybe international football is the place for him right now. I think all these firings maybe put a dampen on his legacy. I mean, for a top coach, he has been fired a lot. Mm-hmm. And it dampens his resume. And I think that is it for him getting a big job, just because of the way football is moving right now and the way his teams normally play football.
Indeed. I think so as well. It's way too much, He's keep going down the pecking order in terms of teams being managed. Roma, still a pretty big club, but I'm not seeing any massive European clubs calling for Jose Mourinho anytime soon. All right, gentlemen, don't move. We take our final break on the scoreboard. We'll come back for more.
Need to spruce up those clothes or take a break from the washing? Then visit New Look Dry Cleaners and Launderers at 120 Red Hills Road, Kingston 19, or Shop 23 Manor Park Plaza for speedy service and the very best prices. Everything will look like new. Be part of the thousands of satisfied customers. Call 925-9464 or 931-1305. Get the best look at New Look.
Protecting Jamaica's borders from illicit imports and exports is a key priority for the Jamaica Customs Agency. The JCA will remain vigilant and resolute in effectively fulfilling this mandate. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 5:45.
Super Center, everything for your home and more.
Whether you are redecorating your home, looking for a gift idea, or simply feel for some retail therapy, Ascent Super Center is the place to be. Regal Plaza, Kingston, and Linstead. We have it all, from linens and curtains to appliances and cookware, furniture, rugs, and wall decor. It's everything for your home and more.
Ascent Super Center, we're gonna make you smile. Ascent Super Center, it's a lifestyle.
Alpha's Metal and Fabrications will give you the look you've always wanted. Grandeur and more. Staircase, steel fabrications, wrought iron furniture, gates, fans, windows, and doors. Metal works with an amazing difference. Telephone number 876-7900121. We're standing strong. Alpha's Metal and Fabrications. Metal works with a difference.
Come catch the action at the National Stadium on Saturday, February 10 for the Camperdown Classic, the showcase of sprinters. Come out and support your favorite team or athlete. Adults, $1,000. Children with ID, $500. Come see the best boys and girls compete to make qualifying times for boys and girls champs. The meet will also feature senior athletes as they prepare for the Olympics. That's the Camperdown Classic, February 10, 2024. Be there.
You're listening to The Scoreboard on Jamaica's #1 sports station.
All right, welcome back for the final segment. Christopher and Matthews inside the studios here at 17 Heening Road. Yashima Love, football analyst, and Bull, both on the line. And now we move towards the big league, the big bad one, the Premier League in England. With Liverpool, they're leading the way. 23 games, though, one ahead of Man City. Of the top teams, the top 6 teams, they are the only one that has a game in hand. Everybody else has gone 23 games. So Liverpool, they're on 51 points. Man City, 2 points behind, 49. Arsenal also 2 points behind. City leads Arsenal on goal difference. Aston Villa, they're in 4th position, occupying the 4th and final Champions League spot on 46 points. We start with Bull and we start with Liverpool. Will they be able to hang on to this lead, or will Man City once again prevail? They are in pole position now. They are on. They have their destiny in their own hands. Man City struggle at the start of the struggle midweek, not at the start of the season. After about 10 games, between 10 and 15 games, maybe the boat was rocking there, but they recovered very well. You think now they should go on to win it, Bull? Man City?
Yes, I said this before the kickoff that I have Man City to win the Premier League. For teams that are in the Premier League, one of the worst things that can possibly happen at this point in time is for Man City to, we said something just now, they have their own fate in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the worst things that could as an opposition team want to hear. Whether they're getting Klopp or Arteta to hear that a Pep Guardiola team, and I'm stressing this, Pep Guardiola team has their fate in their hands. Now, this Man City team is not as talented as the teams in the past. They are basically, if they win the game in hand, they are leading the league by 1 point, considering that the best player on their team missed a significant amount of games. Now, when you look at that player, he's now back, now setting up goals, now
scoring goals.
He's not scoring goals?
Yeah, he's scoring goals.
Okay. He's setting up goals, scoring a goal against Newcastle, and you see that the team is now a bit more fluid. Erling Haaland is back, and the young, and I thought he was young. He's 24, I'm being told. Van Alvarez has been excellent all season. Now, when you look at that and take into consideration that a hungry Pep Guardiola trying to do something that has never been done in terms of the 4-peat, I think they will eventually wrap up this title.
All right. So, well, I wanted to just focus mainly on Liverpool, but you spent all of the time on Man City. But Yashima, you can take Liverpool. You think they will be able to stave off the Man City? It's difficult to win 4 in a row. It can be tough mentally for the players to keep going and going and going. You think when the Champions League restarts and all of that, it will be too much and Man City will falter, and you think Liverpool or indeed Arsenal can't get a job? But let me hear your thoughts mainly on Liverpool chances.
I think they have a shot. Granted,
only a shot.
Yeah, granted that they don't have the destiny in their own hands, but I think if they are able to end up playing well and give McAllister and Szoboszlai a bit more freedom to play their natural game, we could see something from them, particularly going forward. My worry about Liverpool is defensively. Virgil van Dijk, it doesn't seem to be that reliable force that he used to be. He's making rash decisions. His tackles seem to be a bit late in the past year or so, and that's a big worry because he, in particularly, if he's playing well for the most part, he knows how to organize the team defensively, and it seems as if those in and around the defense, they react to him. And I think that, for me, is the big worry. If he's able to put together a good, say, 15 games towards the end of the season, they have a chance, because going forward, they will create. But another issue is, we know Salah had an injury. Not sure how long he'll be out for.
Yes.
Can you count on Darwin Nunez? I'm not so sure. Jota, he's shown that he can score goals. And also, Luis Diaz has been indifferent in terms of how well he's playing. But they are creating chances, and once they're creating chances, you put yourself in a position to win games. But the worry for me is, can they sort out midfield? And of course, can they get Virgil van Dijk playing at his very best? Because I think if he sort out himself, Liverpool definitely has a shot.
Mm-hmm. All right. Did you anticipate that it would be between the 3 teams and it would be this close, Yashim, at this stage of the season?
No, I actually expected Arsenal to be doing much better, and particularly when De Bruyne went down, I was like, this is an opportunity to really open up a lead
pull away
on Manchester City. But again, they have also been inconsistent in terms of just picking up points. And this is my issue with Arsenal, Zidane, is that if they don't play well, they don't seem to win. And you need to be able to pick up points. Sometimes it's not even about a performance. So sometimes you're just picking up points here and there, and I think that's where Arsenal have really faltered a bit. Yes, I think they are missing Thomas Partey in midfield. He has been out for a very long time. I think this mysterious injury, and he always seems to be having setbacks. But I just think that given the run that they had last year, they should have been way more confident.
Yes.
And to be picking up points away from home on a regular basis. And for me, that is the most disappointing thing so far in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think they should have at least been ahead by 2 or 3 points though. They lost to some teams that you don't want to see, and back to back as well. And similar to what they had last year. But let me ask you, because I had this as a thought that, listen, last season was a situation where they had the lead for a long time. It's a record for a team that led and didn't win. This season, that be the case. They didn't start off at the top. They had the lead for a couple of weeks, but they haven't really been maintaining the lead. You think maybe that would mean less pressure for them, that they're not ahead and have to worry about being caught, and they can just pull away late? You think that's a better situation for this young team? Still a pretty young team.
I mean, if you look at it from that point of view, yes, it is. I think you want to have to be ahead, or you want to be facing one team. The issue now is that they're facing 2 teams, and you see, over the weekend, they were able to defeat Liverpool. That should have given them a lot of confidence.
Yes.
They had a little slump. They got out of it, and you're looking at the senior players in this squad to lift the team. And I think Jorginho, in his performance in the last game, I think he's doing a bit of that in terms of lifting them. If they're still in the title race, I'm not speaking as if they're out. They're still in the title race, and I expect it to be a 3-horse race. I think it will be very, very close. But I think it's too much of a challenge to displace 2 teams.
But again, I want to make this point. And I think earlier in the Saturday season, Zidane, you were saying that maybe Arsenal should have gotten a number 9.
Yes.
And when you look on Liverpool, they have basically an insurance in Salah. He will get you maybe 20 or more goals.
Yes.
Erling Haaland, once he stays healthy, he will give you maybe 25 more. You can't say that for anybody in the Arsenal team.
Not at all.
And I think that is where the problem lies. Because earlier in the year, they won some games late on, but those goals came from the midfield. Declan Rice came up with 2, I think. But you want to have that comfort to know that, listen, I have this player in my team who's going to give me 20 or more goals per season. I think that's where Arsenal is really struggling, because you can play well, you can create chances, you have to convert. So that's one of Arsenal's biggest problems.
Yeah, because I'm looking at their defensive record here, goals against their 22. So they are right there at Liverpool.
Exactly.
Yeah, so defensively...
defensively, I think Arsenal has been awesome.
Yeah,
they can see some soft goals, but again, that can't happen to any team on a given day. But you really
in front of goal have been problematic, man. They dominate possession, dominate in the attacking third, and not scoring the goal. So that's perfectly the assessment.
They have a player who is able to get in between 15 and 20 goals, and he's just not playing consistently. I think out of all the attacking players, the one that is coolest in front of goal and has that X factor and can finish well is Trossard. I just don't think the coach needs to find a way to play him in the team, because he can give you between 15 and 20 goals.
Well, in Arteta's
game time that he has been playing,
yes, I am a big fan of Trossard. In Arteta's mind, his front 3, once they are fit and healthy, is Jesus up front with Martinelli and Saka on either side. That's what he's going to do. And I agree with you. I think there are some days where he could go for Trossard.
He has to find a way to put Trossard in his team. He's the one that, for me, because Jesus is not firing, hasn't been firing for a good while now, and I think Martinelli in terms of production has dropped off a little bit in terms of production. I think Trossard is the one that can give him between 15 and 20 goals. You just need to find a way to get him in the team consistently. If Kai Havertz can play in the team, Trossard should be able to play in that team.
All right, Yashima, he played with former Chelsea player, Italian, at the beat. Yes. Yeah. At the start of the season, that's not where he was going. I was surprised, even when the Ghanaian was fit, he was trying him at wing back. So he wasn't utilizing 2 of those type of players in the middle of the park. He had a very good performance in midfield over the weekend. You think this is the way to go until the end of the season, where he's gonna have to play either of those two with the captain going forward?
Well, I actually think that if he was playing with two naturally defensive minded midfield players in Rice and maybe Jorginho or Thomas Partey in there, we know that those players, Rice, Partey, Jorginho, they're also very good on the ball.
Yes.
They can pick up pass, and we know particularly Partey, he really is very accurate with his shooting from distance.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually shocked that he was not playing, two players there, because when you do that, you also give Martin Odegaard so much more
freedom
to get into the penalty area and add up the numbers there. And I think because he basically had so much more responsibility defensively, or trying to win the ball, we're not seeing that much from Odegaard this season. And again, as a coach, you have to make that kind of experiment. But I'm not sure he has done it too often. Given what happened over the weekend, we should see it more often. But again, you can't try and find a balance, but you're hurting going attacking wise. And we know that all things being equal, for me, I think attacking wise, Martin Odegaard is perhaps Arsenal's best player. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion.
All right. So
I think Jorginho suited that game because of the pressing style of Liverpool, and Jorginho is one of those players that they label as press resistant in terms of he moves the ball well and pick up spaces in between after moving the ball. So I think that game is good. But going forward, I don't
teams
think
that sit
Jorginho
deep.
should be a regular starter.
So what if Partey is fully fit? That's actually a good point in a ball.
I don't think because what happened now is that what is going to happen now is that he's going to have to sit down one of his attack-minded players.
All right.
In order to play Jorginho.
But let me tell you why. And that's a very good point for that particular game, because Liverpool, the press, and he's an excellent passer out. He finds those wonderful passes to open up the middle of the park for everybody. But the fact that he's going to utilize the former Havertz as the other midfielder, and he's not very good, then might as well you use Partey or Jorginho. That's where I would go. But you're right, Double. But since
question, is Partey fit right now? I think he's
but they're saying it's close. He will miss the weekend game, but they're saying there's no major issue.
Okay,
he come back after.
I understand. The point of view from both of you guys. But when Arsenal is in position, the who picks up the midfield position is actually Zinchenko. He's the one that comes inside and pick up the midfield position. They have that double keeper, if you want to call it that.
And with Zinchenko on the field, you need that extra cover. So there you go. So we'll fix the problem. Hope Partey is listening. All right, thanks, gentlemen. Excellent analysis again. We could do this all day, people, but we have to get out of here. Big up. Thanks for coming on.
I was definitely with them.
Yeah, man. Good. That was Yashima. That was Bull. That was riveting. Top quality, world-class analysis here on Jamaican Radio. My name is Christopher Zan Matthews. Big up Oster Hoyt, the technical operator and producer this afternoon. Join Davion. I think the next program will be on Friday. Top 5 story of the week. Davion Nugent will be there for that. Until then, have yourselves a great week.
You've just heard the Scoreboard. Remember to tune in Mondays to Fridays at 5 p.m. for top-class sports discussions.